Y'all, Rick Ross is out here trying to stir the pot again. And it's beyond embarrassing at this point. Like, why is this man sticking his nose into a feud he has absolutely no business having?
Like a hoe, put your back against the wall and just slide down. You already know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now. But for the hustlers, I want y'all to understand you gotta stop making business personal.
If there's one thing the entire hip-hop industry agrees on, it's that you never mess with 50 Cent.
Fix.
I don't have anything in business that we would be doing that makes sense.
I don't know.
I don't have a problem with them. If I was chasing them, I would have got them by now. You know that.
Because let's be real, 50 Cent is the pettiest enemy you could ever have, and Big Meech had to learn that the hard way.
Lost a battle, won the war.
Okay, so let's wait to see how the war works.
I like it.
But here's where it gets real slimy. Rick Ross was never really riding for Big Meech. He was just using him as a pawn to take shots at 50 Cent. Ross played the whole free Big Meech card for months, acting like he was Meech's biggest supporter. But now that the snitch rumors are out, he's trying to milk that whole connection just to drag 50's name into the mix. At this point, it's not even about loyalty. It's about Ross desperately trying to stay in 50's spotlight. But the crazy part, 50's not even paying him any mind. So let's break down how Rick Ross finessed Big Meech's name for clout and why he just made the biggest mistake of his career. Let's break it down. 50 Cent and Rick Ross have been trading shots for years, but this time, messing with Big Meech, he's doing it all for attention. It's clear as day that Ross is trying to poke the bear and bait 50 Cent into another public feud. Because let's be real, the only time Rick Ross gets any headlines these days is when he's using 50's name for clout.
Gang, we 2 days away from the Big Meech concert. Get your tickets right now. Make sure everybody flying to the city for this. It's going to be huge.
But if you really break it down, Rick Ross doesn't care about Big Meech's legacy. What he really wants is to stir the pot, and he's been playing puppet master from behind the scenes. He cozied up to Meech the second he got out, filling his head with promises of movie deals and big budget projects, like he was about to change his whole life overnight.
I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
But let's not kid ourselves. That was never going to happen. Ross wasn't trying to help Meech. He was trying to use him as a chess piece to get back at 50 Cent. And it worked, at least for a little while. When Meech popped up next to Rick Ross, 50 wasted no time airing him out, straight up calling him a snitch on Instagram with a picture of a rat and a caption aimed at Ross's whole BMF persona. And when 50 called Meech an informant, folks thought he was making a mountain out of a molehill. But look at these pictures. This type of publicity, it doesn't just happen overnight. We're talking months of planning, contracts, and bookings. And the way it all came together, it's no wonder 50 felt straight up betrayed. But wait, let's play devil's advocate for a second. What if Rick Ross really did have some genuine interest in Big Meech? Maybe he just wanted to welcome him back in style. You could even argue that Rick's obsession with making a BMF film had him buttering Meech up, hoping to get his blessing.
Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big. I can feel it. I'm just talking.
Well, if that was the plan, it was dead on arrival because everyone knows that 50 holds all the rights to the BMF story. Without his green light, Rick couldn't shoot a single frame. And now that the clout chase is drying up, where's Rick Ross? Nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Big Meech is out here scrambling, trying to figure out why his legacy concert flopped and why nobody's lining up to put him back on his feet. And the only person he can blame is himself. The truth is, Rick Ross used Big Meech as a pawn. He never had any intention of helping him. This was never about brotherhood or loyalty. It was always about getting under 50 Cent's skin. But what Ross didn't realize is that he might have actually done 50 the biggest favor ever, because if Big Meech could turn his back on 50 that easily, after everything 50 did to keep his name alive, maybe he was always a snake waiting to expose himself. And we all know what 50 Cent thinks about snakes.
If it's little like a snake, it's a snake. You ain't got to get bit to realize it's a snake.
And now, Meech is left out in the cold, burned by the same man he thought was going to put him back on top. The word has it that Rick is trying to talk 50's acquaintances to turn on him because of the things he supposedly did to Big Meech, but no one's paying him any attention. But what's funny is, this whole time, Rick Ross really thought he was outsmarting 50 Cent. Like he's the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. What he doesn't realize is, 50 saw this coming from a mile away. This might come as a shock, but 50 has always known Rick Ross is borderline obsessed with him. Not because of any real beef, but because deep down, Ross has been jealous of 50's career since day one.
I spread it to you, right? Nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered further.
50's been the silent player in the game. He knows that if Rick Ross doesn't refresh his feud with him every couple of years, his whole career would have died out a long time ago. And that's why 50 doesn't even bother clapping back half the time, because he knows he's the only reason Rick Ross even gets covered in the blogs anymore.
I get covered across the board. Yeah. They get covered on the hip-hop blogs. Oh, okay. It is what it is. Yeah. And you watch, because I have nothing else to say.
And truth be told, the only reason 50 Cent reacted the way he did was because Big Meech was involved. We all saw that when the would-be iconic concert got canceled. 50 wasted no time gloating. Well, he did say he wasn't involved behind the scenes, but the streets are definitely talking, because he indirectly did hint that the concert won't happen.
Y'all gonna be disappointed when Lil Baby don't show up? When Skilla don't show up? When Fizzo don't show up? When all these don't show up?
Honestly, the streets are saying 50 might have pulled some strings to get Big Meech's Welcome Back concert shut down.
50 had your key. Do you know with your one key, me and you got the same key to any embarrassment?
Just 2 hours before the show was supposed to pop off, the Amerit Bank Arena pulled the plug out of nowhere. Their official statement said, "Due to unforeseen circumstances, tonight's show has been canceled. Refunds will be made at point of purchase." No explanation, no warning, just straight embarrassment for Meech. And guess who was sitting back watching it all unfold like he already knew how the story would end? 50 Cent.
Big
And do you know
Meech's
why?
giant welcome home concert
I told you it was
was
gonna get
canceled.
What'd I tell you?
The bill was
What did
insane.
I say?
The list of artists on it was in.
And do you know why the streets believe that? Listen to what 50 said about how he deals with his enemies. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, I don't know what will.
If I have an enemy, I make them very clear that we're enemies.
Okay.
I use
That's fair.
I use my energy
To make
to
it clear.
destroy things around them. I make
Take
things-
responsibility for that.
right for just an
And if you're wondering why 50 had no sympathy for Big Meech's downfall, just look at everything he's done for the Flannery family. 50 wasn't just making a show about BMF, he was putting millions of dollars in their pockets. Let's not forget, 50 Cent was the one who paid for Lil Meech to go to acting school to jumpstart his whole career. Why old boy didn't look out for Mimi and send him to acting school, Big Screech, the G-Unit founder began. All your people that was out there did nothing for him. You come home thinking you're the Black Pablo Escobar and effed him up. He didn't have to do that, especially when none of Big Meech's so-called allies like Rick Ross were lifting a finger to help his son. And what did Meech do in return? Ran his mouth on the internet, started taking shots at the one person who actually helped his family, and dragged his own son into the crossfire. I helped your family make over $5 million legit dollars. It's not my fault it's all gone. B, give the baby back his jewelry. Lil Meech, the one person expected to uphold the BMF legacy, is now turning against the very person who gave him a career, a platform, and a lifeline while his father was in prison. Instead of standing firm, he has now found himself caught in the middle of a situation that could have been avoided. I'm telling you, stupidity runs in genes here. Lil Meech really thought playing the loyalty card would save him. But what loyalty are we even talking about here? The same loyalty that had 50 Cent put millions in his pocket and set him up with one of the biggest acting gigs of his career? Because from where everybody's sitting, Lil Meech's version of loyalty is looking real selective right now. 50 literally took this kid under his wing, paid for his acting school, made him the face of BMF, a show that gave his family a second chance to rewrite their entire legacy. And how did Lil Meech repay him? By turning around and defending his father taking money from Rick Ross, the same dude who's been sneak dissing 50 for over a decade. Look at the message 50 shared of Lil Meech. In the messages, Lil Meech claims he would give 50 the shirt off his back, while simultaneously defending his father's connection to Rick Ross. The most shocking part of the message is that Lil Meech admitted Rick Ross gave Big Meech money to cover his bills until the next season of BMF begins. Meech said, They just told me you unfollowed me on Instagram, and now you managing Skillababy with Rocket when I brought him around you first, when you didn't have a clue who he was. Now you mad at me when I would take the shirt off my back for you. I can't believe this, man. You act like I'm your enemy. I've only ever showed you love and loyalty. I go through my own ish, but I never switched up on you. F. Ross. But he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our next season starts. If Lil Meech was really about loyalty, why would he even let his pops take a dime from the biggest snake in the game? Especially when 50 already helped the Flannery family make over $5 million legit dollars. The truth is, Lil Meech played himself. He thought he could ride both sides of the fence, but what he forgot is 50 Cent don't play that disloyal stuff. If you're with him, you're with him. If you're not, you're just another op waiting to get exposed. And now that those text messages are out, Lil Meech just proved to the whole world that he's been eating off 50's plate this whole time, while secretly breaking bread with his enemies. No wonder the game had to step in and clown him too, because how are you the son of one of the most legendary street bosses of all time? He said, just seen a text from Lil Meech to 50 that got me dying. Hey Lil Meech, you were supposed to be like F you, this BMF, and I'm standing with my pops. Now me and Fifth got our own issues, but that ish on pause while I post this. Then Fifth said, what's your little A gun do? I damn near spit out my water. What happened to Gangsta Man? Big Meech, you can't let 50 get at you like that. Well, to be honest, are we really surprised that Meech has pulled this snake move again? History always has a way of repeating itself, and if you've been paying attention, Big Meech's so-called loyalty has been questionable for years. You all remember those rumors about Big Meech snitching to shave years off his sentence? Well, it ain't just rumors anymore. 50 Cent brought the whole truth to light, and the receipts are not looking good for the Flannery family. According to 50, Tammy Cowen, Big Meech's former assistant and BMF producer, played a major role in getting Meech's sentence reduced. And the way 50 is putting it, Meech had to do a whole lot of talking behind closed doors to make that happen. And let's not get it twisted. In the streets, being labeled a snitch is the ultimate death sentence. But here's where it gets even messier. There's actual paperwork to back up these claims.
She expressly states that Demetrius Flannery, Big Meech, put her in contact with Fidel Suarez out of California and Dion Gatlin, who is Cuffy out of St. Louis, to arrange a large sale of...
This is coming straight from Tammy's sworn affidavit, and it literally spells out how Meech might have used third-party cooperation to cut himself a sweet little deal. Now, the crazy part is that 50 ain't just throwing shade with these accusations. He's out here teasing a whole tell-all documentary that's about to blow the whole BMF legacy wide open. And the wildest part is that Blue Da Vinci, the same guy the BMF camp tried to paint as a bitter hater for years, is the one co-signing every single thing 50's saying. And if you all know the history, that's a big deal. Why? Because Blue Da Vinci is the whole reason 50 even started calling Big Meech a rat in the first place. Blue's been singing this song for years, but nobody wanted to believe him because the whole BMF legacy was built on the idea that Big Meech never folded.
I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor.
But now, the way these receipts are lining up, it's looking like Blue was right all along. And the crazy part is, this ain't just some random conspiracy. Every single trail leads right back to Tammy Cowen, the same woman who was right up under Meech while he was behind bars. Now, Tammy wasn't just some assistant. She was literally running BMF Entertainment while Meech was locked up. She even landed herself a co-producer credit on the Star's show. But here's the kicker. Tammy had been working as a government informant since 2009.
That he never received the time cut because what came out was that she had an illicit relationship with Special Agent Keith Cromer.
Special Agent Keith Cromer.
So while she was out here fronting like she was holding Meech down, she was really playing both sides the entire time. And it gets even messier. Blue claims the only reason Big Meech was even getting an early release was because of a deal they cut to set up one of Meech's closest associates, Cuffy, to take the fall. If everything had gone to plan, Meech would have walked out as early as 2018. But the whole deal fell apart when Tammy got caught up in having a relationship with a DEA officer. Let that sink in for a second. The woman who was supposed to be writing for BMF was literally sleeping with the same people trying to bring them down. At first, people brushed Blue Da Vinci off, called him bitter, said he was just salty about getting cut out of the show. But now, Blue's out here putting people on the phone to back up every single claim. and the streets are starting to wake up. All that Meech never told propaganda is starting to look like one big lie. The Meeches always screamed loyalty, but the second things got rough, they folded behind closed doors and let everybody else take the fall. And if this documentary drops, 50 Cent might be about to burn the entire BMF legacy to the ground. This feud with Ross adds another layer to the chaos. Their beef stretches back to 2008, fueled by diss tracks, legal battles, and one infamous lawsuit that cost 50 a cool $7 million. Ross took another shot last year, calling 50 broke, but if history has proven anything, it's that 50 never lets things slide, and neither is Gene Deal.
I can't believe a stand-up dude doing his time would suddenly say, I don't want to be here no more. I'm going to become a...
Now, the drama is threatening more than just egos. It's putting 50's business at risk. Word is this might be the final season of BMF, a show tied to his $150 million Starz deal. Walking away from that money would hurt most people. But 50, he plays the long game. If he built it once, he'll do it again. Because once you cross him, there's no coming back. The situation has gone just beyond a rap feud. It has turned into a complete betrayal. Big Meech, who once had 50 Cent's backing, made a choice that pushed him further into isolation. Now the damage has been done, and 50 is making it clear that he's not the one to forget. Do you think 50 is out here just telling it like it is? Or is he trying to destroy Big Meech's whole legacy out of pure spite? And is Rick Ross really coming through for Meech, or is he playing chess to break up BMF from the inside? Let me know what you all think in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because this drama is only getting messier.